In Australia, domestic violence remains a pressing issue. According to statistics, 1/4 of the women and 1/8 of the women are the victim of domestic violence. Instead of speaking about statistics, let's go talk how we can help those in danger, those who need help, those who need assistance. We talk about families as well. With me in studio today, it's George Bousamra. You're gonna correct me. Ambassador of the Zen Tea Lounge Foundation, and Grace Dagher, a good friend of mine and the event planner for the Zen Tea Lounge Foundation. Guys, welcome. Okay, George, quickly. We're going to scroll a little bit later your website. We can see you there. But who's George?
So myself, my background has always been about marketing and advocacy. It's really about trying to give people a voice. That's how I started my business, and that's how I've been practiced, because we've all been in situations where we could do more, or we wish someone that was there that can actually help us out. And that's how I started off my career, and that's what keeps it going, is the fact that there is always someone out there that needs to get themselves more exposure, that could probably do a bit more with a little bit help, either from myself or people that we know, or even from government in its fact. So that's how I started off working with Zen Tea Lounge. I was there just as a customer, just enjoying the lovely soup that they serve and the fantastic service.
So you're saying that meal is good there, right?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Okay, that's good.
I highly recommend it. Like, it's a place to go to in Smithfield, because it's my favourite little spot, because the name itself implies Zen. So in Industrial Park, there's a lot of chaos, a lot of things happening. You step forward inside this little cafe, inside the Zen Tea Lounge over there, and it's something special.
You get transported to somewhere totally different.
Exactly. And it got to a point where I was being quite selfish, where I didn't tell any of my colleagues or friends to go down there, because I was trying to avoid them.
You tried not to share the soup. That's what
trying not to share it. I'm like, this is my little place.
You were trying to be Zen.
This is my little Zen, little sanctuary, and the people were fantastic. But then I thought, you know what? A lot more people out there need this experience. So that's why I was like, okay, I'll be a bit generous. I'll start telling people more about it.
So may I ask you something? You say you started as somebody who was consuming the soup. Why is that?
I was there as just a customer. Like, it was just really enjoying the food, really enjoying the service, being very friendly. It wasn't until I actually had 2 guests with me from Vietnam, and I thought, you know what, there's a nice cafe that would be able to serve the food that you enjoy. And don't worry about the menu. Order off the menu. The people are, they'll look after you, and they'll order whatever you want. And so I was speaking to the founder, Amy, who I thought was just a shop operator. Yeah. And, they were having a chat in Vietnamese, and I'm nodding away. I'm like, this is great, good. Amy heads off, and then I speak to my guests, and I'm like, so what do you think? And they're like, oh, this is a really good charity. And I'm like, well, what do you mean this is a charity? This is a cafe. Tell me a little bit about it. And I actually had them explain to me what was going on. Amy is so humble. She didn't want to say anything about what her operation is, what she does outside of the cafe. I later found out that every woman working in that cafe, in that restaurant, were impacted by a form of domestic violence or abuse. And she was giving them a chance to break the cycle, step out of home, make their own money, and start a new life, a new happy life. And I thought, that is amazing. Pulled her aside and said, listen, how are you doing this? All self-funded through the cafe. I'm like, okay, we'll bring you a lot more business. Is there any government support? She said no. I'm like, you know what? Let's give you exposure. I'm going to have coffee with this person over here. I'm going to make sure I have coffee in this cafe itself, let him know about it. And that is Hugh McDermott. And from then, he's been one of our fantastic advocates, bringing a lot of people onto line, and of course, bringing other organisations on as well. And from there, over the course of 7 or 8 years now, we're able to support a lot more women, not just the 5 women working in the cafe.
Yes.
But we're reaching out to the thousands. We're providing a lot of programs that help them out with stress reduction, which is like a mindfulness-based training. These common things that you see when it comes to war veterans. We're using those techniques and helping these people out, men and women and children, kind of break the barrier and find a new way of seeking happiness. So small things like that, yoga classes, self-defense classes, things that will build their confidence and motivation to take on the world. And of course, some of them through the program have actually opened up their own businesses and really has shone, and we're able to employ and help others. So this is why I'm so passionate about the Zen Tea Lounge, and this is why I'm trying to utilize my skill set to help them grow.
Can I just, for the record, I'm going to make a big statement now. It's a bold statement. it is very difficult to any man impress me. It's a fact for them because of my background. But you, George, as you are talking and explaining how you're helping these women, there's a genuine passion and desire to help other people. Not many men has that flame or fire, or call this, inside of themselves. So I just want to say congratulations to you for being the man. I mean, being the man. Not the alpha male or the killer male or, I'm the biggest entrepreneur bullshit artist. This is what makes society move. People like yourself and the Grace. So thank you on behalf of every person you guys are helping. Because now we need to come for the soup. And thank you to the Amy who is not with us today, guys. But that's I'm going to put a contact section down below all about Zen Tea Lounge Foundation. And as George says, there's many ways how they're helping the people. Can I ask you, Grace, I know that you're not a victim of domestic violence, but may I ask you, what, you say you're not on record? You're not?
No, I'm not.
She's not joking. But you're the lady today between in this conversation, and you're the woman. And you may or may not witness that some women experience domestic violence. What is the hardest part for every woman after being traumatized and, physically abused by their partners? What's this next step the most hardest for women?
I think the next step is to try to find their confidence to be able to figure out their purpose and their reason and the motivation to keep going. So I'm not a victim of domestic violence. It's not a cause that technically relates to me and my story. You and I have had conversations about my story in the past. But something about Amy and something about the foundation and something about the cause really struck a chord with my heart. You're talking about people who, no matter what the circumstance, and I've said this to Amy many times, we're sort of same but different. We've struggled through something and achieved and been put in a place where we've reached our lowest point and then had to try to build up from there. And what she's doing to help women and men and children and families is trying to get them out of that pit of depression and out of that cycle of that's never ending, and trying to find their purpose, trying to give them a reason, trying to give them the push to say life will continue. You have and trying to find the good that comes out of the bad. That's what she's so passionate about doing. And it's all through, like what George was saying, just through a humble little cafe.
Little cafe. George, can I ask you a question? Sorry to interrupt you now, Grace.
It's okay.
I want to find out something more deeper cause. Why the government doesn't assist more to the organization like yourself? I mean, don't take me wrong. I saw in a war that usually it's a humble man and humble woman, or the family is going to be those one up front to help those who need most, right? By seeking nothing, because it's humanity, right? It's how the upbringing or the culture, whatever it is. But I don't understand why on earth the government doesn't help more.
Yep, that is a...
Feel free to say this is my podcast. They can't do nothing.
No, it's fine. I'm happy to go on this journey with you, Mario.
Thank you.
If I've seen your work, I know what you do, and I know this is the right platform to get the message out there. Because the audience that you attract are those who want to know more, who want to do more, right? Yes. And this is why I'm happy to be here with you.
Thank you, George. Appreciate it.
No, I really appreciate everything you do. So why the government doesn't do enough? One thing in particular, I'll be fair to them and say they don't know how to help, right? They don't know how to, invest their money. They don't know how to deal with these situations. Where, I've done things in the community in the past where I would call people and have a conversation with them, and then you have a single mother on the other side of the phone seeking a bit of help, a bit of assistance, and then we are able to step in and help them out in one way or another. Help them rebuild their confidence. That's the first thing you need to do over the phone. And second thing is to tell them what they can do tomorrow, right? And not many people know how to have that conversation with them. You give any other person that opportunity to speak to them over the phone, and they'll mess it up. They'll make their day even worse just by calling and hanging up. They don't know how to deal with it, right? But when it comes to us, and whenever I've seen what Amy does, with the people that she supports, it's actually real. We're not going out there, doing a pledge or just doing a march. We're actually helping people directly. This is not a third-party charity. This is a group that directly helps out these people. It's quite a practical charity. And the problem is that we have is that we're too busy doing. We don't spend enough time advocating, right?
Yes.
And sometimes this is an issue that people try to avoid. People don't want to go down this path because it brings a lot of hurt. There have been plenty of times where I've sat in the room, been at the functions, or even whenever I'm front on stage, I would actually start to tear up. Like it's something that is that tough to deal with.
Yes.
And people don't want to feel this way. People don't want to express, but you know what? You got to do it for them. You got to do it. You got to get yourself out there. You got to fight through that emotion and show them that you're strong so they can be strong with you, right? And you got to bring them along that journey as well. So the sad bit is, in essence, not many people know how to deal with it. The actual action side and the emotional side. But we're happy to go out there. We're even happy to talk to corporates and not only just to government representatives. We've been out there talking to police services as well and trying to get them on board and show them exactly firsthand what we've been through, right? The problem that we have at the moment even is that when people experience such a situation, sometimes we are the first person that they call because they know us, they've heard about us and they trust us. They will call us before they call the police, which is something that we're trying to avoid doing because we want them to put things on record live.
That's correct.
Chat to the police first, right? So whenever anyone's in this situation, either emotional abuse, physical abuse, whatever kind of abuse, always speak to the police first. They're going to be there to help you. They're going to be there on your side, right?
Yes.
And then if you need the extra emotional support or someone to hold your hand through the process, then call Zen Tea Lounge Foundation because they're the ones that can actually take people through. And we want to be out there and we want to provide more services, more options to our victims as well. We're out there, we're chatting to other organisations that provide shelter.
Yeah.
Something that we did see a reduction of in the past is that government-funded shelter for women refuge is now quite scarce. We've seen a number of those centres shut down.
Really?
Yeah, we have seen that.
Why is that? If I'm asking, why is that? Because see, this is conversation nobody wants to talk on TV, right? Everybody loves on TV. I guarantee you 100%.
Yeah.
If you say to me tomorrow, Mario, we're going to put, Grace, she's going to put in 14 days the big event. It's going to be the big billboards. It's going to be celebrities. It's going to be the clowns, mermaids, midgets, unicorns. I guarantee you that all these VIP and those who want to be seen will flock there to get a picture because they've been on such a event and looks like angels. Now, I don't believe in this. I believe in the first hand when I see people putting their hand into dirt, shit, do hard yaka. And now you're saying to me, nobody speaks about these things. So if it's an event, everyone's going to talk about it. But in reality, you're saying to me a lot of shelters are gone. May I ask you why they are gone? What's the reason why they're being shut?
I mean, it's
money.
It's always going to be about money. I mean, you know what? I'm not going to get into their mindset and say why they did something stupid.
Yeah.
I can't think like a stupid person. I think it's one of the most ridiculous things that they have done, right? So I'm not going to get into the mindset and try to deduce how they came to that conclusion. But the problem is now is that, well, not the problem, because we are the solution in the sense where we want to work with other not-for-profits. There are fantastic women's shelters that are out there that are run by not-for-profits.
Not-for-profits,
right?
Yeah.
They're the ones that are lifting up the load. We want to be working more with those kind of people because we want to give them direction. So women's shelters is an issue, but also giving people access to jobs. I mean, my main thing is how do you get them out of this cycle? How do you empower them so that they can be their own selves? They don't have to rely upon anyone else, and they can have that chance at happiness again.
You know what? If you said to me, let me run for the Prime Minister, I'll vote for you. No, honestly, you know why I say this to you?
A sad thing if I'm the one that's doing all that.
But it's okay. It's
My God, yeah.
I have the bigger studio, you remember me.
No worries.
Look, I served politics for the 20 years and I saw what's happening behind the closed doors and, everything else and it's not pleasant when you when your ideals and beliefs actually being shattered when you hearing how the money is actually being redistributed. Australia is not a difference. I mean, there's a politicians, there's a people, there's a groups, there's a monopolies, and there's all these things happening. But one thing I like about you said two things. You said number one, if you experience domestic violence, go to police, put on record. Then George and the crew and the Zen Tea Lounge Foundation will assist you. But you say something very important. It's not about today, but you say how they're going to do tomorrow. Because the police can help so much.
Yeah.
I mean, they can't shelter you forever.
And that's what we were saying, is that when you're in the pit of the darkest, darkest place, how do you get yourself out of there? And how do you think about finding the strength to keep on going and finding the strength to find your cause and your purpose? And a majority of these people have families, they have children. Where do they go with their children? They, in some cases, they're homeless, they're moneyless, they've lost everything. And what do I do now?
Yeah, that's true. George, before I go into questions what organization does and how he does, do you see the trend why domestic violence happen? Any reasons or trends or causes?
I mean, there's plenty of reasons why someone will go down that path, I guess. But to reduce it down to something that's a lot more statistical and practical, it's in the sense where if someone's not feeling right about themselves, they're going to look at a way to how to unleash it. And some people don't have those techniques on how to deal with stressful situations. If we go back to, and we'll use the C word, COVID, during that period over there, we did see a high influx of these situations. One, people did lose their jobs, financially unstable, mentally unstable. They didn't know what the next move was, right? Spending a lot of time in close quarters together really, and caused a lot of
frictions between the partners. Yes, correct. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, and not many people knowing how to deal with those situations. So it comes down to, I guess, an educational aspect on how to deal when things are not great. Right. Not many people have that kind of skill set. It's not something that they teach over at schools. It's something that's rarely taught amongst families because the older generations never had to, deal with what we're going through at the moment. But they also never had to learn these kind of skills. They grew up in a time where you just move forward. Some people just like to dwell on the past and on the present. And for me, I'm not a history major. That's why I'm like, we'll focus on the past. Let's see what we can do in the future. So it comes down to a lot of people not knowing how to cope within themselves when things become stressful. And the sad bit about it, some of these numbers are on the rise. We don't see these situations getting easier.
It's actually steadily increasing. That's what I'm seeing in my neighborhood as well.
Yeah.
Police, I never saw police so often. I come to Australia in 98 and, I was working in diplomatic environments, working Croatian embassy, and we had the federal police on the fences and everything else. But once when I stayed in Australia, I barely saw the police. I think maybe once or twice has been brutalized. I said, where's the cops in this country? Why the people back my home in Croatia, that would be like a wild west. There's no police, right? I mean, but lately, I would say, since magically the pandemic is over, I see in my street so much patrol cars coming during night. And
I think it's everywhere at the moment. All you hear at night is the sirens going off and the helicopters above the houses, and there's something seriously crazy going on out in the big wide world, and it's all relevant. It's all the after fact or the...
Everybody's shutting down their eyes and investing, let's go say, in Bitcoins rather than helping those who needs. Well, till doesn't happen to them. And then everybody is where I can go, right?
And then,
Can I just touch on that point?
Of course, yes.
It doesn't happen to them. You'll be surprised how many people have been impacted by domestic violence. It's not just, a certain category.
Yeah.
It's not just a certain ethnicity group. It's not based on which postcode you live in. It has no discrimination when it comes to family and domestic violence and that level of abuse.
Yeah.
You can have a power person out there conquering the world, but as soon as they get home, something happens, and then that person just shuts down, and then they get abused, and then they have to go back out there become a completely different person outside their home. So sometimes you don't even know what happens inside those homes, right? This is an issue that just does not discriminate, impacts a lot of people evenly.
Isn't it the safety? Yes, sorry.
I was going to say, and you know what's really funny is that if you think about our ancestors and our family members in the past, a lot of them had domestic violence issues in the homes, but it was never categorized. It was never brought to anyone's attention. It just became a norm.
Society was a patriarchal society. Like I remember in my family, my mom, she was bashing my dad, right, literally. But then my father will unleash the hell on me and my brother.
That's it.
Yep.
And I never understood. But, you know, then, as I say, most of these men, I feel sorry for them. I'll be honest with you. I feel sorry for them. Whoever you guys they are, you know, I don't care, you know, what your color, skin, or ethnicity, religion you are, they're cowards. Every man who lifts a hand on a woman is a coward, in my books, right? And I say, like, I saw in my life so many times all these big preachers of the big masculinity about alpha males and, you know, just name them. The biggest cowards in life. Then mostly it's a men who are, you know, doing hard work like yourself and everybody else, helping others are people who move society. So one more question. So when you're talking about women only domestic violence, you talk about men as well, right?
That's right. Yeah. It's just a lot easier to roll off the tongue when you say men, but it actually impacts men just as much.
Why we do talk about men domestic violence? Grace, can you help us? You're the lady here, right? Why we don't talk about male domestic violence? I'm pretty sure, like as I said, my father was leaving, my mom, she was like giving to him, right? But why we don't as society don't say that even men can be physically abused by their partner?
Well, you know what? In a big sense, and I think we've spoken about this before, I don't actually think men get enough highlight in a lot of things, in a lot of issues. Domestic violence is...
It's easy to you say this than me, George.
You're welcome. No, but there's a lot of issues that are happening out in our society that men just don't get a cut off. There's a big focus and there's a big direction about focusing on the rights of women, but then what about the rights of the men? Like, I thought we're working for equality in every single way. Why are we not paying attention to how men are being impacted by the fact that women are getting pushed up, higher and higher, but then you're pushing the men further down? So yes, this is, I mean, I don't know the ins and outs of the statistics and the background behind domestic violence, but I can see how this can happen. You're turning an alpha male into an alpha woman, or an alpha woman is becoming stronger and stronger and stronger, and the men are becoming weaker and weaker and weaker, and yet I think we're just all a confused society in every single way. We're in a world where we fight for rights about equality. Let's fight for rights about equality with men and women in every situation, but including in domestic violence. There are people who suffer. And again, I don't know the ins and outs of the stats.
I think there's a lot of people suffer in silence, you know.
There's a lot of people that suffer in silence and they don't have a voice.
So why Amy started this, George? Hi, Amy, we're going to put your name there. You know, we don't want to come today, and you that started that fire, so please, George.
Yeah, exactly. Thanks.
Why that Amy started
this? It's all good. No. So Amy actually, from you know the conversations that we've had, she actually started, she actually did a good portion of her career helping out in child protection.
Okay.
So she was actually had a government job where she was front facing, and she worked with a lot of people in this way. She got caught up in that government bureaucracy, but she saw it. She saw straight through it, and she just had to break out and do her own thing. She's like, you know what? If we're gonna want change, we're gonna have to be the change. Let's make it happen. That's her mindset. So she went out, she did it. She got investors. They put the money behind this social enterprise as a way to generate money, so that way they can fund programs. And Amy, on her journey, she's got like another 50 steps to go. Like, she's got really big plans. And this is why, you know, I'll do whatever I can to support.
Thank you,
her
George,
and her
and
group.
thank you, Grace, for the organized event. But so, what programs actually Zen Foundation offers? You mentioned mindfulness, the yoga, chasing the unicorns as well. I'm pretty sure for the people like me, like to lose the weight. But jokes on side. So, what programs and workshops the Zen Lounge Foundation offers?
Sure. So you can go on the website and you'll see a couple of those titles in there as well. But so the main thing would be around classes for mindfulness-based stress reduction, and that is key. That gives people the skills to cope in adverse situations. They also offer yoga programs, and then they also do like small courses that actually helps people relax. So they can do like calligraphy courses. They can do origami courses. Like something as small as that, just something just to keep your hands busy, just clear your mind, and that's always going to be the main thing as well. Then they also have programs that helps people who need a lot more confidence and a leg up. So they might need certain assistance with they might not be able to physically move as well. So she'll help these people just find a bit more purpose, find ways on how to spend their days, and actually smile. Like you go through the cafe and you see people there, and they're just loving their life. They're in their space.
They feel safe.
They feel so safe. And like sometimes I'll go down there during the lunch break and just wanted to have the soup. And then
you just love that soup.
Yeah, it's great.
We're gonna find out what's in that soup, okay?
I've had the soup. It's really good.
And you sit there and they'll come up to you and then they're like, "Oh, let's play Jenga. Let's play the." I'm like, "All right, let's play Jenga." And then we'll do that. And then they'll have like a little sheet where every time you take out a piece, you'll have to do how are you feeling today, and then you actually have to express to them, what's going on with you. Like it's a way for them to open up. It's a way for you to open up. It's a very interesting experience because you think you're playing Jenga, but what they're getting to do is to get you to talk and talk about what's going through your mind and your heart, and it gives them that opportunity to do that as well. So the kids are very clever at what they do.
I can't emphasize enough. Once when we finish this interview, when it's edited, I just want you to guys to watch the George body language, and I want you to zoom and see his eyes expression.
His eyes light up.
And I think it is, as I said, there's many and plenty of organizations that started charities or foundations with the idea to help others and ask them simple questions, but then become the commercialized, and I never heard from them except one day per year and money. And I'm like, come on, seriously, guys, is this the best what we can do? Like, but this is something what's 24/7. I'll call 24/7,
That's right?
Because soup is come every day, you come there and the people feel safe. That's important. But the fact that you can express yourself how you feel, I think that's the essence of every human issue. So ask you don't need to answer on behalf of the group, but one tip you do or use to reduce your stress? Is it breathing, or is it exercise? Is it punching people in faces, or robbing the banks? Or
probably all the above, except for robbing the bank. Haven't done that. There is moments where it's like these bastards. It's like no, I haven't done that as yet. For me, it's more about understanding what's happening now.
Okay, please.
So to try and cut through whatever noise that's going on, break down the issue to what the core is. Don't worry about the emotion. Don't worry about all the extra stuff that's going to impact.
Nice.
It's like, okay, what's happening now? What are the tangibles? How do we combat that? Because to me, sometimes the difference between a good day and the bad day is just your opinion of it, right?
Okay.
Like, so my day would be the same thing time and time again, but for some reason I think Thursday's bad and Monday's really good. But that's just what's going on in my mind,
Yes.
right?
You woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Something happened. You didn't have your coffee right. Just
that's it.
Set you all off.
It's so trivial. And when you understand that a lot of this stuff is trivial, you can actually break it down and say, well, no, every day can be, I'm not going to say every day is going to be the best day in the world, but you know what? Every day can be at least a good day. Let's start off with that, and then you can work your way up on how you want to do it. I mean, the way I would do my week, you sow on Monday, you reap on Friday. You got a plan, right? So you understand what the fundamentals are happening. You understand what you need to do, and therefore you know where you need to go. Give yourself a short timeline to get it done. And that's the way to pull through.
You're 100% on the money. Do you know why? Recently, I interviewed here Professor Dr. Mark Williams. He's a neuroscientist. He's a smart guy. He's a very, very smart guy. And when I asked him same question, what would you suggest? He said, sometimes it's just an opinion. Ask somebody the question. He said, and you avoid many problems. So the academics say the same thing as you said. You confirm what the academics saying. But yet society complicates it,
we've all got this thing over here.
Yeah.
Like, we all have it. Like, don't think that we're any different.
Yeah.
When you look at
my head looks big, but the brain is smaller.
Yeah, that's it. And then I think for us, like, we spend too much time complicating things, and we think that our issues are different. It's like, no, a lot of people have the same issues. Some people hide it differently, right?
Yes.
And it's just a matter of just kind of just break it down and think, what is the best way to approach? What is the end game? That's everything. Every time I chat to someone and they tell me about the issues, or they're having an issue with their girlfriend, or they have an issue with their best friend, or whatever, I'm like, so what's the end game? Do you want to see him again? You don't want to see him again. Make the decision now. And then what is the next step you're going to take to fix the situation? If you want them in your life, by calling them names and treating them, abusing them, whatever, you won't even do that to a dog. Right?
Yes, correct.
Why would you do that to your partner?
Yes.
And then you got to think to yourself, every time I come home, do I want to be there very positive? Do I want to be there, in one unity? Is that the goal that I want? If that answer is yes, you got to figure out, what am I going to do to get to that level? Because certainly going the other way on that issue is not going to lead to something that's a lot more loving and a lot more together. When there is some sort of negativity and abuse, it's like there's a division, right? And you've got to think, what is the end game? If your end game is, I want to go to home, I want to be relaxed, I want to have a great relationship with my partner, then focus on that. What are you going to do that's going to get there? Because no matter what happens in the world, and we can talk about, there's a lot of pressure in this world at the moment, trying to divide unity, trying to make us all individual and move us away from the family unit for that kind of instance. And I'll go on camera and say that. And then the problem is like, how do we fight that noise? How do we fight those messages and stay together as one, right? When you go into a relationship with someone, there was something that you saw the very first time when you looked at that person, right? Try to remember, what was that reason? Because otherwise you could have been with any other person, but why did you pick them, right? And what's going to push you through and keep you guys together and be strong?
This is one of the most profound, honest conversations I had in very, very, very long time. Honestly, George.
Yeah.
The fact it is that today you walk into this studio, which is secret location, you should know, but I choose the name. That you come today making effort to talk on behalf of this foundation, to share your wisdom, life wisdom, together with the Grace. That's what makes this foundation and both of you unique people. I'm telling this from my experience. I live the life of the person doing things for my government, believing that that's the best thing I could ever done. And then I realized actually everything I was doing was a wrong reasons, of a wrong purpose. And there was regrets. But I'm glad that down on my path in my life, I'm now 50 years old, I'm meeting people like yourself, George, which makes Zen Tea Lounge Foundation very unique and very... Guys, comment section below, I'm going to put the website. Feel free to visit. You can see the George in the pictures. He's at the back, but you're going to recognize him.
Yeah, that's it. No, we push from the back because they just have to be at the front.
So now let's go talk about... Yeah. Let's go talk how the people can contribute to this one. So we have some event coming, George.
Yes.
We have event planner Grace Dagher here, good friend of mine.
Yes.
And she knows how to make the things, let me tell you. She done something for myself. So let's go talk about upcoming events. Who is going to start first?
So on the 22nd of September, write this down, save this date.
5 days after my birthday, okay.
Okay. On the 22nd of September, there is going to be the Zen Tea Lounge Foundation annual fundraising event. And this year, we are focusing on solidarity against family violence. Mm-hmm. So last year, the focus was 100 women in solidarity, and there was a big focus on women in domestic violence.
Yes.
This year they've changed it a little bit, and we're changing the focus to be a little bit more inclusive, taking into account and recognising the victims of domestic violence, be it men, women, or families, children. So we're hosting a charity fundraising event. As an event planner, I always like to go into planning an event and ask the real question about why are you doing this? Yeah. What's the purpose? Whether it's a wedding, a social event, or a business event, I want to know why, so we can try to achieve that outcome.
Maximum impact, yes.
The maximum impact. The purpose of this event is like any other fundraising event, first of all, is to raise funds to be able to do the things that Zen Tea Lounge needs to be able to do. But it's also about creating awareness. Okay. It's also about getting the name of Zen Tea Lounge out there into the wider community, sending the message about what they do, why they do it, how they do it, sending the message about Amy's cause and her mission, and trying to create more interest. You're not always going to succeed from the first event or from the second event or from the third event. But if you plant a seed here or there, that seed grows into a beautiful tree ultimately. Fundraising is an important part, because fundraising means that we're able to do more for the foundation and to be able to achieve more. So we do have sponsorship packages that are happening for the foundation, for the event, and we're reaching out to business owners within the local area, but also business owners who can relate to trying, not necessarily to the cause itself, but to try to help on a mission that is so important like this. The basics of the event.
So where is the event happening? Okay, we know 22nd September.
22nd of
70
September.
It's my birthday, guys, so it's a good choice. Smart choice. September is a good month.
We're going to celebrate with you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, so 22nd September, where?
Smithfield RSL.
Smithfield RSL, okay.
Who have been so graciously supporting us with the entire cause and with the entire... They've been fantastic in the background.
Yeah.
It will be an evening event, so a dinner event. Our good friend Carol Ferrone is going to be MC on the night, and we have some guest speakers who are.
So we do have celebrities.
We do have celebrities.
Okay, so we're gonna have the big fan.
And we're all gonna be there, right?
I'm gonna be in me and George, like. Okay, George.
And we, of course, some entertainment, raffle prizes, different activities that are going to be happening during the night to try to raise some funds. It's going to be a night where we're also going to give homage to the victims of the domestic violence. So there'll be a ceremony happening during the night, during the event, where
everybody's invited, guys.
Everyone's invited.
So just go for it.
Where they can find the details about when?
So the link will be underneath this podcast.
Comment section. So
in the comment sections,
yes.
where you can go online and purchase a ticket from Humanitics. Mm-hmm. And again, for any businesses out there in the local area, Smithfield area, who have seen Zen Tea Lounge, who've heard of them, or who just want to find out a little bit more, please contact both of us. We'll have our details down below as well.
I don't need to do my job anymore. That's a good one. So, to all my 500,000 viewers today, I want to say, guys, jump online. I want you to see what a true people, ordinary, everyday heroes do for the society. Nowadays, like Crime River, Hollywood stars, anything else. My opinion about this one. This is my self-opinionated opinion. I didn't say it well, but you know what I'm saying. So this is the people who actually move in society. Everyday, ordinary heroes, as a George, as a Grace. So Grace, before we go on a menu, right? It's going to be a good menu?
Of course it is. 3-course meal.
That's okay.
I'm not going to tell you what's in the menu yet.
Okay, I'm just curious now.
Surprise. You need to be there.
Because George is kicking me under the table while he gave me the Morse code soup. So what's the story about soup, George? What's the Zen Tea Lounge
There's not going to
Foundation.
be soup served at the
Okay, I know,
event.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's a
Yeah.
good thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
we won't have the soup there because if you want the soup, you have to
Yeah.
go
You
down
need to
the
go
Zen
to
Tea
the
Lounge.
Zen Tea Lounge Cafe
So
and
where's the
experience the entire.
Zen Tea Lounge Cafe? That's so it's Smithfield RSL. It's on 22nd September.
Yes, that's
it's
for
an
the
evening
event.
Yeah, 3-course
Yes.
meal, no soup, but
No soup.
So George,
But a good night.
good night. But George, he mentioned soup. So where's the Zen Tea Lounge Cafe?
Foundation.
Yeah,
Cafe.
Cafe,
so it's
sorry.
based over in Smithfield, right?
Okay, so Smithfield as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think it's Percival Street or Road, and you won't miss it. I'll tell you that
Okay.
because you're amongst all this industrial park. Then you see this little granary with like nice decoration,
Gardens.
and gardens, and you just get pulled into it. Like your
think-
mind and your heart knows where you need to go. You can just go blind and you figure out where this place is because it just exudes that level of zen. Like it's a fantastic spot. And then I'll tell you what, if you want to look at ways on how you can help and contribute, some people can throw a lot of money at it. Some people can do work, but you can just even go down, buy a coffee, buy a soup,
That's right.
and that's a way of helping out as well. Coming back to the first story is the fact that, yeah, I was buying product and that's helping funding
Yeah.
the program, but B, smiling, being a nice person and just being a good customer and having that level of engagement with them, that's direct support. You're actually making someone's day, you know, when you're able to interact with them at that kind of level. It helps them out a lot. So that's just small little activities that people can do to help out the foundation and to help out these people directly. So you don't have to use us as the middleman, right? You can go down there directly and see it firsthand and meet these people firsthand who've been through a lot in their lives.
Guys,
As soon as you step into that space, the Zen space, I tell you that your perspective and your life changes because now once you even the tea ceremony, I had the pleasure of actually being involved with the tea ceremony the other day, and I thought it was something a bit strange at first, but then when Amy walked me through it and explained why they do it and the reasons behind it, I tell you, I forgot about everything else that was happening in my day.
it's interesting. There's a places in this beautiful planet, blue planet. We don't know where they are, what they do, but we know they're bringing a lot of happiness.
It's people helping people. It's like literally genuine people wanting to help people. And as I said, this isn't a cause that originally struck to my heart, but it's a cause that I'm starting to fall in love with because I'm so passionate about what Amy does and about what the foundation does and about what the ambassadors
They
like
couldn't
George
choose
do.
better the Grace Dagher events planner. That is the best thing. Seriously, guys, GD events. In comment section below, or come on my social media as well. You can find the Grace as well.
You'll see me everywhere.
Okay, not
That's okay.
not everywhere. Like it's like not everywhere, but okay. So how they people can contribute? What they even before the event, what they can do? How the people can give their best. Obviously, they can support monetary, financially. Or
Yes.
is there any other way people need to do? Or
Spread the word.
Spread the word. If
Come
you-
and experience.
Yeah, that's exactly it. If you feel as if you want to have that direct level of engagement, there are plenty of opportunities to volunteer as well. As many hands as we can have, as many people we can help, right? So, if people do want to go through this, and it could be an homage to someone that you have in your family or one of your friends who've been through this situation, right? Because this situation, as we mentioned in the statistics, it's almost 25% of people.
25% of women.
So one in four people. Like I know more than 4 people, so at least one of them had been through this situation, right? So whenever I started to get involved with this group, it made me think a lot more about what happens with the people around me. Some of my best friends have been through this situation, have been hospitalized in that process, and it didn't really come to mind until I was there. I'm like, geez, yeah, I know people in this situation who've been through this situation. They had a good support network around them. Not everyone has that kind of luxury, right? So it's like, well, what can I do? So whenever I help out, I think of my friend who'd been through that situation, right? And these people don't have anyone apart from us to support them. So naturally, yes, whatever you guys need, let's give yourselves a chance. This is why we come to Australia, like give yourself a chance to break free and be happy.
You know, the one thing continues to come on my mind as you talking and Grace as well, and when you're talking about helping others, you know, soup is symbolic, right? But
We need to get you some soup.
I'm not diet yet, but okay. So the thing it is, soup reminds me of the days back in my home in Croatia during the war, and I remember once when the fight stops, you know, the civilians start crawling out of the basements and everything else. And I do remember, you know, the women, you know, coming all full of dust and tears and sweat and blood and everything else. And we used to be giving them, like, you know, we have, you know, soldiers always has more food than civilians, no question asked, you know what I mean? But you give them all these small juices and, you know, some it was called the dry rations, you know what I mean? It's a can of the fish and some bread, you know what I mean? You give this on. But that smile on the face, right? You can see, like, you know, that happiness, that shitty little chocolate to this kid, you know, will make the day, right? Now can you imagine when you offer the shelter, when they offer the food, and most importantly, these guys don't have the slogans. These guys really ask other ones how they feel, how they're going through the day. And I'm employing all you guys, Zen Tea Lounge Foundation, .org.au. I'm going to put the comment section below as well. I'd like to say thank you to Grace Dagher for the Grace Dagher events.
Thank you.
I know it's going to be awesome day because there's a question asked. And as well, George, I need to read your surname again. So like George Bousamra.
Yeah, perfect.
Man, I'm so good, man. Like, it's just like gold, man. It's like,
mate, you're now a Habibi.
The Habibi. Now we can do some things together. Guys,
Have some
everyday ordinary heroes. Today with me in studio, George and Grace from Zen Tea Lounge Foundation. And they owner of the coffee shop. It's Amy. She started this. I want you to guys jump on link, see how we can help, how we can support. 22nd of September, Smithfield RSL Club.
Yes.
3-course meal.
Buy your tickets down below.
I mean, I'm gonna just. You can wind up. Okay.
No, that's
please. No, please.
I'll be quiet now.
No, you can wind up, please. Come on. That was it for today.
Thank you for all joining us today. Please buy your tickets down below. Go visit Zen Tea Lounge Foundation website and see how you can donate. Please spread the word. This is a really important cause and we need to get more and more people talking about this. Come and visit Amy and the team at the Zen Tea Lounge Foundation and have some soup and be transported into a really Zen space. Thank you, Mario.
You're welcome.